They keep telling you the screen is the villain. Your phone, your laptop, the TV your grandkids are glued to. You've probably repeated that warning to your own children. But here's something almost no doctor will ever sit you down and say out loud. The things quietly destroying your eyesight aren't glowing rectangles at all. They're small, forgettable habits you repeat every single day without a second thought. One of them can walk you toward permanent blindness without a single warning sign. Another one is responsible for roughly 1 in 10 cases of cataract blindness worldwide, and people did it to themselves, one careless afternoon at a time. And right now, today, you are almost certainly doing at least one of these 5 things. I'm Dr. Alexander, and for years I've watched patients walk into my office with damage that was completely preventable, damage they built themselves, one ordinary habit at a time. What I'm about to tell you is the version you won't hear in a rushed 15-minute appointment, because there's no profit in keeping your eyes healthy for free. If you want the honest version, stay with me to the end, because habit number 4 is the one almost everyone in this comment section is guilty of, and habit number 2 might already be working against you without your knowledge. Let's start with the one that feels completely innocent, rubbing your eyes. An itch hits, you rub, and it seems like nothing. Everyone does it. But stop and think about what your fingers touched in the last hour. A door handle, your phone screen, cash, a keyboard. None of that is clean. Every time you rub, you're grinding whatever bacteria and grime is sitting on your hands directly into the delicate surface of your eye. That's often exactly how people end up with bacterial conjunctivitis, an infection of the thin membrane covering the white of the eye and the inside of the eyelid. Redness, discharge, days of misery, entirely self-inflicted. Now take it a step further. If your eye has recently had surgery, or taken any kind of impact or injury, rubbing means you're physically crushing a fragile, still healing structure and opening the door wide for infection. But here's the part almost nobody warns you about. Research published in respected ophthalmology journals has linked chronic, repeated eye rubbing to a condition called keratoconus. In plain language, keratoconus is a slow, progressive weakening of the cornea, the clear dome at the front of your eye responsible for focusing light. Over years, that dome thins, loses structural strength, and starts bulging outward into a cone shape. Vision distorts, blurs, and in severe cases, the damage becomes disabling. If you already have early keratoconus, even a mild form with no symptoms yet, persistent rubbing can push it toward full-blown disease in the overwhelming majority of cases. Something as automatic and thoughtless as rubbing your eye can cost you the clear window at the front of your eye, permanently. This matters most with children. They rub constantly, and almost nobody stops them. Watch your own hands, and watch your children's. If their eyes itch, don't let them dig away at them day after day. Find out why. Allergies, an infection. Treat the actual cause instead of letting the habit run unchecked. If this is the first time you're hearing how directly a habit like this can threaten your vision, hit subscribe now, because habit number 3 involves something sitting in almost every bathroom cabinet in this audience, and it's more dangerous than you think. Habit number 2, skipping real sunglasses. Consider this. Cataract-related blindness affects millions of people around the world, and a meaningful share of those cases trace back to nothing more than years of excessive ultraviolet exposure. A cataract is a clouding of the eye's natural internal lens, which is supposed to stay perfectly clear for a lifetime. So sunglasses aren't a style choice. They're medical equipment. Your natural lens filters out part of the light spectrum, but a portion of ultraviolet radiation still reaches your retina, the light-sensing tissue lining the back of your eye, and that exposure is toxic, both to the lens and to the fragile cells that let you see at all. Excess ultraviolet doesn't stop at cataracts, either. It also attacks the macula, the small central zone of the retina responsible for your sharpest vision, contributing to age-related macular degeneration, a condition that slowly erodes central sight. But choosing the wrong sunglasses can make things worse, not better. Look specifically for a label reading UV 400 or 100% UV protection. That's what confirms the lens actually blocks harmful ultraviolet wavelength. Cheap, unlabeled dark lenses are a trap. They dim the world enough that your pupil widens to let in more light, which means a larger dose of unfiltered ultraviolet floods straight into the structures you were trying to protect. Dark lenses without real UV filtering can be worse than wearing no sunglasses at all. Good sunglasses also protect the delicate skin around your eyes. And don't assume this is only a summer problem. The danger actually spikes in snow and high altitude, where sunlight bounces back up at your eyes from every direction off the white ground. That's why serious mountaineers wear those large, wraparound frames. It isn't fashion, it's full-angle coverage. A wide frame that hugs your face protects the whole eye, not just the front of it. Habit number 3, sleeping in your contact lenses. Most people who wear contacts know this rule, and break it anyway. So what's actually happening while you sleep with them in? A contact lens is a foreign object resting directly on your eye, and it partially blocks oxygen and nutrients from reaching the cornea, a tissue that, unlike almost everywhere else in your body, has no blood supply of its own. It depends entirely on your tears and the surrounding air for oxygen. Add a lens on top, even a high-oxygen permeable one, and some of that supply is still cut off. Now close your eyelid over it for 8 hours of sleep, and the oxygen starvation gets dramatically worse. Starved of oxygen, the cornea fights back by growing new blood vessels into tissue that was never meant to have them, and because your tears aren't washing the surface clean anymore, the risk of infection climbs sharply. Ordinary microbes that live harmlessly on every eye can turn dangerous, triggering conjunctivitis at best, or keratitis, a serious inflammation of the cornea that threatens vision itself, at worst. Multiple studies on contact lens have found that sleeping in lenses raises the risk of keratitis several times over compared with wearing them only while awake, and surveys suggest a striking share of wearers admit to doing it regularly, essentially gambling with an eye infection every single night. If you wear daily lenses, wear them for one day only, then discard them, never stretch them further. If you wear planned replacement lenses, respect the replacement schedule, store them in fresh solution, and check the solution's expiry date. And never, ever swim, pool or open water, while wearing contacts. Water is a direct infection risk. A single unlucky organism trapped between lens and cornea can cause acanthamoeba keratitis, a severe infection that in some cases leads to total vision loss and the need for a corneal transplant. If you have teenagers who wear contacts, this is worth repeating to them directly. Maturity doesn't always translate into caution. Now habit number 4, and this is the one loaded with irony. We lecture children endlessly about screen time, then model something far worse ourselves: smoking. Everyone knows it damages the lungs. Far fewer realize how directly it attacks the eyes. 4 conditions in particular are strongly tied to smoking. First, age-related macular degeneration. Large population studies have found smokers face roughly 2 to 3 times the risk compared with non-smokers, and troublingly, that elevated risk only fades in people who quit, and not until 15 to 20 years afterward. Second, cataracts. Tobacco smoke is packed with oxidants and fine particles that damage the lens and cloud it years ahead of schedule. Third, glaucoma, a disease that gradually damages the optic nerve, the cable carrying visual signals from eye to brain. We tend to think of glaucoma as something that only affects the elderly, but smoking can bring it on earlier by reducing blood flow to the optic nerve and raising internal eye pressure. And glaucoma, once present, never fully leaves. It's a lifelong condition, which is exactly why removable risk factors like smoking matter so much. Fourth, diabetic retinopathy. For anyone living with diabetes, especially poorly controlled diabetes, retinal damage is already a looming risk. Smoking accelerates it, making it appear earlier and cause more permanent harm. The eye is one of the most densely vascular organs in the body, packed with fragile small blood vessels. Smoking causes those vessels to spasm and constrict, and every structure from the lens to the retina to the optic nerve absorbs the consequences. And now, the 5th and quietest habit of all, going years without an eye exam. You feel fine. Nothing hurts. You read and drive without difficulty, so why bother? But an eye doctor isn't only the person who writes a glasses prescription. Modern eye examination is remarkably advanced technology. In a matter of minutes, it's possible to examine the eye down to a microscopic level and catch disease long before it produces a single symptom you'd notice. That early detection is everything for conditions like macular degeneration, glaucoma, and cataracts. Catching disease early and stabilizing it is a completely different outcome from meeting a patient after the damage is already advanced and irreversible. Consider this. Major ophthalmology associations estimate that roughly half of all people living with glaucoma don't know they have it. Glaucoma can't be cured, only controlled and prevented from worsening, which means the stage at which it's caught determines how much vision you keep for the rest of your life. And your risk for all 5 of these threats climbs with every passing decade, while symptoms and response to treatment shift as you age. So tell me, how old are you? Drop it in the comments below. I genuinely want to know which age group is watching, because it tells me exactly who's most at risk right now, and it helps me build the next video around what actually matters to you. Here's what to do starting today. Stop grinding at your eyes. If they itch, find the cause instead of rubbing it away. Buy real sunglasses labeled UV 400 or 100% UV protection, and actually wear them, especially in snow and bright glare. Respect the rules on your contact lenses. Never sleep, never swim in them. If you smoke, let this be one more solid reason to quit. And if you're over 40, Get a proper eye exam every 2 to 3 years, even when everything feels perfectly normal, because the diseases that steal your sight do it silently, without asking permission first. No one is going to sit you down and walk you through all of this in a rushed appointment, because there's no profit in keeping you healthy for free. I will. If this helped you see something you didn't before, hit subscribe, drop a like, and let's get this channel to 300,000 people who deserve real answers about their health.